Welcome, welcome to the February meetup, guys. Let's just get straight into it. What do we got? MicroPython links. We know all these. They're just getting a bit stale now, but they're all useful. And sponsorship too. Tonight I'm talking some stuff about news things. Damien's going to talk about what recent updates to the MicroPython codebase.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still working on that. That's okay. Right, so season of docs we talked about last. In fact, we've been giving an update for the last year, pretty much, as Joanna's gone through her work. It's all now online and live. You can go check out all the developer documentation now, which is fantastic. We've got some really nice documentation there. As we've just said goodbye to Joanna, it's just been opened again, so we will apply again to try and get someone else on board for season of docs. No guarantees we get it, but it's well worth applying. I'll probably put that together, but we need two people to sort of put that proposal, or to drive that proposal, so we might be looking for assistance out there if someone wants to chip in and help, just meeting with the documenter every week or so. Matt's new hardware. I have... Can you check me out? It's all right. Thanks. We have one of the new Espressif ESP32C3s. This is kind of like a low-end device. It's got a RISC-V core, which is kind of exciting. Single core. It's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. The interesting thing is they've kind of just ripped out the dual-core Tensilica stuff, dropped the RISC-V core in, and then added all of the ESP32 peripherals to it. So this is looking to be the ESP8266 killer, I suppose. And I've heard that they're really being aggressive with pricing on this. They want to drive it down for under $1 is what they're looking for. We don't have MicroPython support for it yet, but who knows, that might change soon. The Pixel Blaze is the next one, which Martin's got at the moment, but it's actually a pair of boards. We've got two of them. These are not MicroPython devices per se, but they're in that class of device that's kind of interesting to us all. They're LED controllers. The interesting thing is they've put a web server on the ESP32, and you can log onto the device wirelessly. And the person who's put this together has built like a JavaScript DSL to allow you to edit the patterns that the LEDs can display. And yeah, they can work in matrices or they can work in strips. So that's really cool. What else do I have to say there? There's also a Pico version, which is the smaller one, the thin one. That one, I should say that the bigger version allows GPIO interactions. There's expansion boards for it, that kind of thing. So that's kind of cool. About $35 plus shipping for you. In terms of the porting effort, Peter's been working on the SAMD file system. Good job, Peter, on getting that running. And we're going to move that up onto the SAMD 51, which I've just given him tonight, so hopefully that'll come again pretty quickly. If anyone wants to help out, I've still got some GRs here, so we can move that along.
Can I just ask where we're up to on the SAMD support now? If we've got pin and stuff yet?
Not pins, no, that's next.
Cool.
Get it back here. We've basically, what have we got? We've got UART, USB, USB, file system. That's pretty much it, really. Yeah, pins next, then peripherals. So yeah.
Cool.
The next one for me is the Quick Feather, which is this device that has FPGA as well as an M4 on die. Really interesting device. And when I reached out online to say that I'd like to do this, someone came back and said, "Oh, we've already started a port for this already." So we've already got a pretty good grounding. We've got UART support, bootloader, and basic pin support. So yeah, I'm going to take that and take it a little further. Interesting that Trammell Hudson did that. Trammell, you remember, is the guy who a couple months ago we talked about the IKEA devices. He got this started. Which is cool. Finally, on the porting effort, there was, I don't know the guy's real name, but he goes under the pseudonym of Real Sparky on the forums. He's got a variant of the STM32 to target the new G4 based device. So haven't had a look at it yet, but apparently he's implemented the high resolution timers, which are kind of unique for that device. Don't know how it conforms to the API yet. Quick infrastructure update. a long time ago, Damien and I discussed improving the wiki and the forums. The wiki because we were using the GitHub wiki and they'd kind of gotten stale and people weren't contributing to it. So they've been read-only for a little while, I believe. Is that true?
The GitHub wiki.
One? Yeah. So there is a media wiki that's actually available now. It's got very little in it at the moment. I'm starting to describe some of the various ports because we've got a long list of ports that are in various stages of development. So that'll go up in the wiki and eventually we'll start putting more content onto it. It's running on MediaWiki, which is a more powerful system to be building on. The forums, we're using PHP BB, and it's kind of aging. It's outgrown its usefulness, I think. Damien's trialing Discourse, which seems to be the obvious platform to try next.
The aim is to migrate all of the PHP data to Discourse, and then try it out, and then if there's a consensus, we'll just use that instead. We'll shift to using that.
Yeah. Okay.
But
it's
the migration is tough.
Migration's a big one. Yeah.
It says it can do it, and it says it can even migrate passwords, which is nice. But so hopefully you can still log in without. No, I mean it's smart because the passwords are not stored on the server. It's the hash of the password. So Discourse just have to support that hashing method, and it would work.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not
plain text.
Just
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got someone working on that. So
cool.
Hopefully something to say very soon.
Cool.
Okay. Watch this space, I guess. PicoGo was one project I saw was released recently. There's been a ton of activity based around the Raspberry Pi Pico. This was one of them, which is an extension for VS Code that gives you IntelliSense and also allows you to upload files. So it's kind of neat if you're playing with the Pico. Don't know how extensible it is, or rather how much it applies to other ports. The IntelliSense is going to be specific to the Raspberry Pi Pico, but apparently it's a good example of how you can build an extension to do those kinds of things. So maybe it'd be easy to migrate to other platforms as well. If you click on the autocomplete.gif, you'll see the kinds of things you can do, but it can complete like machine.whatever and all those kinds of things, which is nice. We were talking about Lego before. A guy named Gary Law has published a bunch of videos on how to get it running, how to get MicroPython running on how to do things with it as well. So this is for both the Spike Prime and the Mindstorms Robot Inventor, which are the two more recent variants of Mindstorms. So it's actually really well done videos. It's like 9 or so in each of the series, talking about how to get it onto the device and then how to use MicroPython to make it do things with Lego, which is pretty cool. This Beauty Light hack was too good to pass on, but it's a CircuitPython extension. So these Beauty Light hacks have sort of become popular on AliExpress. They're only like $30 Australian, and they're basically just a ring of NeoPixels, but RGBW NeoPixels. What's that variant? The SK6182s, whatever they are. So some hacker online documented how he took one of these and took it apart and used CircuitPython and the Raspberry Pi Pico, I think, from memory. Yeah.
Timon.
Sorry?
Timon?
Timon, yeah. That was the guy. Went through quite a lot of detail on how to pick it apart, put your own little board into the little device that sort of comes with it. It's pretty neat. For those of you that like playing with LEDs, I know there's a few of you. It's a really cool device. The Microbite, it's a crowd supply project. $45 if you just want a white one, or $60 if you want a colour one, I think, from memory. The interesting thing is this looks kind of big here, but it's only like 8 centimeters across. It's really small. It's got an ESP32. The person's invested a fair bit of time to make to provide support for retro gaming. They're also midway through their MicroPython support for it as well. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that, but they're advertising MicroPython support, so that'll be cool. 240 by 240 display, which is not bad for that kind of size device, as Sion will show you later. It's kind of cool. I just thought I'd mention that this TTGA Watch, which has been pretty popular, it's just had a little bump to get a microphone installed. So apparently they had a request to do audio control. So there's a variant of it now. It costs an extra like $4 and comes with a microphone in it. So that's available. Just take care. I think they've updated the version that's on Tindy, which is where most people buy this from. But I've got an AliExpress link there where you can get it. Just in general Python news, I thought it was worth mentioning that pattern matching has been accepted for Python 3.10. It's kind of a big feature, and it was heavily debated, and it seems to have been, whenever new features get added to Python, it seems to be like, oh, this is great, we've got more flexibility, or Python's now no longer a simple language that's easy to learn, and so pattern matching really polarized people, I think. It's kind of like a lot of people would consider this like a switch statement. It's actually a lot more than a switch statement. It actually matches on structure as well as content. So go read it. There's a tutorial PEP as well as the specification PEP. If you want to learn how this thing works, the tutorial one is fantastic. This feature was proposed by Guido, and he's been pushing that for a while. So it's got good credentials. One other thing that's worth noting is that this was one of the features that really required the new peg parser. So that was kind of interesting because we don't have a peg parser in MicroPython. So it'll be interesting to see how we graft that in if we ever decide to support 3.10 and go down that path.
Yeah. There's a few jumps to go from where we are now to 3.10.
Yeah, look, all right. There's a few other things that are probably in line ahead of it, but
no pressure, Damon.
Yeah. And there's a whole grab bag of stuff that was going on there. I've provided links for, but a bunch of tutorials out there, especially around Raspberry Pi Pico, of course, ESP32. A lot of people are trying to get. I'm not sure if the Raspberry Pi Pico has sort of drummed up interest in MicroPython, so people have gone and revisited their ESP32 stuff, but certainly I've seen a bunch of tutorials on how to get started on various ports, especially the ESP32. The N5 paper, which I've got here, received UI flow support. That means you can do stuff in the browser and deploy to it. I can show you what that means a bit later if you want. There is a driver for this FT blah 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 cap touch sensor, which is the one that's using the M5 stack Core 2. It's a really neat touchscreen device. Actually, I'll have to show you that later too. If you only look at one link, the music player on the Raspberry Pi Pico is pretty cool. It's someone who's generating a whole bunch of PWM outputs with some LEDs that match the music that he's playing. It all looks and sounds really cool. There's a cupcake machine or secret game. I don't actually understand what that project's about, but there's someone who's developing a game based around cupcakes. Go look at it and figure it out for me. Pomerani's also, when the Raspberry Pi Pico was released, Pomerani released a few boards of their own to match the Pico. I'm seeing drivers come out that are pure Python for MicroPython and CircuitPython, and Pomerani are actually already supporting their own custom build as well, so they're all available. More tutorials. I like the catchphrase, this one, MicroPython's like Python but teenier. That's cool. There's a cool NeoPixel Firefly jar, which is one of these big jars where you throw in a whole bunch of NeoPixels and they all flicker around in various ways. Really cool beginner project. This is the slider pot UI widgets where someone's built some frame buffer extensions so that you can represent the slider position. So you had like a pot, and these things update as you move the pot. Cool. There's an e-paper driver which takes a good friend Mike Causa and Dominic Kapustas. They had two different libraries which supported different things. In particular, one of them supported font scaling. The other one didn't, but added better graphics primitives. So someone's smushed them together and added a few extra features. So we've got a better e-paper driver again, which is nice. And there's some more hardware that's come out that's I didn't have time to focus on, but it's a small ESP32 based one designed for like agriculture, like smart agriculture stuff. So it's got a bunch of sensors that can detect moisture in the soil and that kind of stuff. So that's there as well for you. What else we got? Watchy we covered last month, and the only thing to update here is they finally added a price, which is $55 US plus shipping, and they've made their board a little bit neater and nicer. And that's it.
Is that like a hackable watch as well?
It's a hackable watch. It basically looks like that.
Oh, it doesn't
It comes
have a
with a
wrist.
band. It does come
Oh,
with a band.
And does it have a back?
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
They've got like a 3D printed option, or you can get like an aluminium enclosure as well if you pay more. But they've got all the designs. They've open sourced the housing designs. Yeah, but it's a neat little like e-paper device. Okay, well that's me. I'm done and dusted.